Hi guys, we are going to continue using pivot tables, and now we are at question 4. Now the question 4 indicates that, asks that which region generates the highest average profit and which region has the highest average profit ratio. Let's try to understand the question better. First, we need to just find out what the average profit is, and we can do that easily. You're just inserting a pivot table, and then we are going to take the regions, and then we are going to put the average profits in there. So instead of the counts, we will just take the average. Okay, so we want to also find out what the average profit ratio is. At this point, the situation becomes a little bit more complicated. So the profit ratio here, for example, for the first transaction, if I find that out, the profit ratio is the profit amount divided by the sales amount and then the percentage. So we could just divide the profit by sales, and that is 16%. And for the next transaction, it is 30%. So these profit ratios are called unaggregated profit ratios. So they are not aggregated, they are profit ratios per transaction, and sometimes this could give us a wrong result if I just directly use these profit ratios calculated here. How? Let's just give an example. Let's say there's company 1, and I'm going to call it company 1. And there's a sales amount and profit amount. And the sales for this company is $100. Let's say the profit is $20. And then there's company 1 again. The second transaction, my sales happen to be 10. And my profit is, let's say, 6. Now, if I look at the profit ratios here, and the profit ratio is going to be for the first transaction for this company is 20 out of 100, and the second transaction it's 6 out of 10, and this is 20%, and the other one is 60%. If I take this and say that my average profit ratio for this company is 40%, so average of 20% and 60%, it is going to be wrong. So my average profit ratio for this company is going to be the total sales amounts and total profit amounts, and I need to find that value in. So my total for sales is 110, and my total for profit is 26, and my ratio is not that, so it is going to be just 26 divided by 110. So it is actually 23.6%, not 40%. And this amount is aggregated profit ratio. So it's an aggregated value, and we have to be very careful how to pose this. For example, if I try to calculate my profit ratios per region, I need to sum up all the sales and all the profits, and then I will just divide the profit by sales. And it's a better idea then not to use these here, but just use a field in pivot tables that is called the calculated field. So we will do that here, and what we're going to do is we will just go to Analyze and Fields, Items and Sets, and we'll just add a calculated field. Now my field is profit ratio, and the formula is going to be equal to profit divided by sales. And I'm just going to click OK. And for the blanks, the ratio is none, so that's 0 divided by 0, it's not going to give you the value. There's only one row there, it's causing us trouble. Okay, and the remaining ones are fine, and I can see that the profit ratio is 7.9%, 13%, etc. And let's just exclude the blanks, only show these. And this ratio is the aggregated profit ratio, and that is the correct percentage value. Now, if I want to find out if the sum of profit ratios, or just basically this, we could just call them profit ratio, and okay, so it doesn't accept that because there's a field in there in the data. So what we're going to do is we are going to do the last thing there, and that question is, are the rankings different for different ship modes? To find it out, we are going to use another feature of pivot tables, and what we'll do is we'll go to analyze, and we are going to just insert a slicer. And the slicer, what it does is it filters based on a given categorical variable. So I'm just gonna look at the ship mode, and I want to put a slicer on the ship mode, and the slicer comes here. As you can see, we filtered the blank, that's why it's not selected. Now let's say these are the profit ratios. The highest is central, the profit ratio, and highest is not central, the west. And let's just check for the first class. As you can see, the first class, only first class, the ratios are different. Same day, south, the profit is bad, so we need to see what's happening there. Second class, standard class, and then clean the filter. Okay, so let's look at the second class again. Same day, and this is south, and if I double click on it, and for the same day in the south, so these are my sales. I'll take a look at my sales, and these are my profits. Let's try to use from the smallest to largest, and here the North Carolina, there's a large amount of loss that made that sum smaller. So the sales amounts, where's the total here? The total sales is 21,017, and total profit is negative 1762. When you divide that by the sum of sales, you will see this value, which is about 8%, negative 8%. So it is an aggregated ratio value, and we could see that value here. An average profit is a loss, and you could just dig further into the